Look at yourself in the mirror right now. Not at your overall complexion. Not at your hair. Look specifically at the space directly beneath your eyes. That soft, puffy shelf of tissue that sits there every single morning like a shadow that never fully lifts. Maybe it arrived gradually. Barely noticeable the first year. Then it was there every morning. Then it stopped going away entirely. And now it is just part of the face that looks back at you. You have probably tried everything. Cold metal spoons. Cucumber slices. Eye creams with ingredients you cannot pronounce, selling for prices that still sting when you remember them. You reduced your salt. You slept on an extra pillow. You drank more water. You got more sleep. Still there. Still puffy. Still making you look 10 years older than you actually feel. Here is what nobody in those product advertisements, and almost nobody in any clinic waiting room, has ever told you. Those bags are not a cosmetic problem. They are a signal. A specific, readable, physiological signal coming from an organ the size of your fist, tucked into the middle of your back, quietly doing a job so critical that when it begins to slip, the very first place in your entire body it announces itself is right there, under your eyes. Every single morning, your kidneys are speaking to you. And by the end of this video, you will know exactly what they are saying, and exactly what to do about it tonight with nothing more than your own 2 hands. But pay close attention, because most people make 3 critical daily mistakes that are actively making this worse. And if you skip straight to the protocol without understanding the root cause first, there is a very high chance you will waste another month treating the wrong thing entirely. What is actually happening under your eyes? First, let's destroy the explanation you hear most often. It is just water pooling while you sleep. You lie flat, fluid collects, you stand up, it drains. That explanation is partially true for someone who is 35. After 60, something fundamentally different is happening inside the tissue beneath your eyes. And the proof is already sitting on your face right now. If overnight gravity were the only mechanism, the puffiness would clear within 1 to 2 hours of standing up and moving around. But yours does not fully clear. Or it clears part way, lingers through the afternoon, and comes back worse the following morning. That pattern has a name. And it points upstream, past the eye, past the face, directly to the organs doing the filtering for your entire body. Here is the anatomy you were never taught. The skin beneath your eyes is the thinnest skin on the entire surface of the human body. Everywhere else, your cheeks, your forehead, the back of your hands, the skin rests over dense fat and tightly woven connective tissue. The tissue under your eyes is structurally different. It is extraordinarily loose, almost sponge-like, with almost no resistance to fluid accumulation. Think of your under-eye tissue as the floodplain of a river. When the river runs at normal volume and the drainage channels are clear, the floodplain stays dry. When something goes wrong upstream, when the river carries more fluid than it should or the drainage channels are narrowed, the floodplain fills first. Before anyone upstream has even noticed there is a problem. And every single time, the question is the same. What is happening upstream? The silent organ driving your morning face. Your kidneys filter approximately 180 liters of blood every single day. That is not an estimate. That is documented human physiology. They process your entire blood volume roughly 30 times in 24 hours, regulating with extraordinary precision exactly how much fluid stays in your bloodstream versus what gets sent to the bladder. Here is what changes after 60. And this is the part nobody is telling you in the waiting room. Clinical research consistently documents that kidney filtration capacity, measured as GFR or glomerular filtration rate, declines at an average rate of approximately 1% per year after age 40. By age 65, you may be filtering at 70 to 75% of your original capacity. By age 75, some individuals are at 55 to 60%. And this decline announces itself with no pain, no locatable symptom. No dramatic event that sends anyone to an emergency room. It works the way sediment slowly narrows a drain. You do not know what is happening until the sink starts backing up. When the kidneys operate at reduced capacity, their ability to precisely regulate fluid balance becomes less accurate. Specifically, they respond less efficiently to the hormone that controls how much sodium and water the body retains overnight. When that signaling becomes imprecise, the body holds on to a slightly larger volume of fluid than it should. Not dramatically. Just enough to keep your tissue fluid marginally higher than optimal all night, every single night. That marginal excess finds the loosest tissue in your entire body, the perorbital floodplain under your eyes, and settles there, year after year. Score so far on your standard eye cream treating this problem, 1 out of 10. Because it is sitting on the surface of a problem that lives 4 inches below the skin. But there is a second mechanism operating simultaneously. And this one receives almost no discussion anywhere. The hidden drainage system your face depends on. Your face has its own lymphatic drainage network. Lymph vessels originate near the inner corners of your eyes, run outward beneath the skin of your cheeks and temples, and drain into lymph node clusters located directly in front of your ears and tucked beneath your jawline. These nodes collect fluid that has gathered cellular waste and excess proteins from your facial tissue, process it, and route it back into your bloodstream through the neck. After 60, this system faces the same age-related changes as lymphatic vessels throughout the body. The vessel walls stiffen slightly. The tiny valves that keep fluid moving in one direction become less precise. And critically, if you are not moving your jaw, your face, and your neck with the same frequency and force you did decades ago, the facial lymph conveyor belt slows further. Every deliberate chewing motion, every slow neck rotation, every wide expression, these are mechanical contractions that physically squeeze the facial lymph vessels and push fluid toward those drainage nodes. Hours of stillness. A sedentary day. A night of fixed sleeping position. And the drainage falls behind the accumulation. The result is a reservoir that builds across days, weeks, and months, until the mirror shows you something that looks permanent. Treating this from the outside with a serum or a cold spoon, score 2 out of 10. Because those interventions cannot reach the drainage gate. They cannot stimulate the nodes. They are touching the floodplain while leaving the upstream river untouched. Now we are going to do something different. The self-test you can do right now. Before we get to the protocol, I need you to test your own tissue. Use nothing but your hands. Press 2 fingers firmly into the skin directly under your left eye, the way you would press a soft peach to test its ripeness. Hold for 5 full seconds. Remove your fingers. Watch the skin for 10 seconds. If it springs back immediately, smooth and even, fluid movement in that tissue is relatively functional. If there is a faint indentation that takes 3 to 5 seconds to fully smooth out, you have meaningful fluid retention in that perorbital tissue. If the skin feels doughy and the indentation is slow to recover, more than 5 seconds, that tissue is saturated. And you have been treating a saturated system with surface-level products. Now find the drainage gate. Slide your finger along your jawbone from your earlobe forward. Move slowly with a little pressure. About halfway between your earlobe and the point of your chin, you will feel a spot that is slightly softer than the bone itself, and in many people, mildly tender to firm pressure. That is a primary lymph node cluster. One of the central drainage gates for the entire face. Press it now and hold for 10 seconds. Notice whether you feel a dull pressure or mild tenderness radiating slightly upward toward your cheekbone. That response tells you the node is active and reachable. Remember exactly where that spot is. Because it is the center of everything we are about to do. The 3 mistakes making it worse every night. Before the protocol, you need to understand what you are almost certainly doing that is actively sabotaging any progress. These 3 daily habits are the reason the puffiness does not improve no matter what you put on your face. Mistake number 1. Hidden sodium after 6 in the evening. Not table salt. You probably barely touch the shaker. The sodium is hiding inside processed food. A standard serving of cheddar cheese contains roughly the same sodium load as a large bag of salted chips. The fat and flavor compounds mask the sharpness so completely that you do not register it as salty. But biochemically, the effect is identical. When sodium enters your bloodstream in the evening, your body activates osmotic retention. It holds on to every available molecule of water to dilute that sodium load. That water saturates your tissues overnight. Your kidneys, working at reduced nighttime efficiency, cannot fully reclaim it before morning arrives. It settles exactly where tissue resistance is lowest. Under your eyes. Every single night. Mistake number 2. Alcohol in the evening. Even 1 glass. Alcohol is one of the most potent suppressors of anti-diuretic hormone. The signal your brain sends to your kidneys each night, telling them to slow down, concentrate urine, and reduce fluid output during sleep. When that signal is chemically blocked, the kidneys run at full filtration speed throughout the night. They process more fluid volume than they should. The overflow accumulates in the perorbital floodplain. This is not a theory. It is the direct, documented biological mechanism by which a single evening glass worsens morning facial puffiness. And it operates even with moderate, socially acceptable intake. Score on the just 1 glass habit for your morning face, 0 out of 10. Mistake number 3, restricting fluids during the day to reduce puffiness. This strategy makes the situation measurably worse. When the body is mildly dehydrated, lymph, the fluid flowing through your facial lymph vessels, thickens and becomes viscous. Think of the difference between water and thin syrup moving through a narrow tube. Well-hydrated lymph drains your perorbital tissue efficiently. Dehydrated lymph sits. The protocol is not less water overall. It is better timed water, concentrated before early afternoon, and tapered significantly after 4 in the evening. The 3 foods that actively support the system. You do not need expensive supplements. You need 3 specific foods that directly support the 2 systems driving this problem. Food number 1, fresh parsley. Consumed daily, not used as a garnish. Fresh parsley contains compounds apiol and myristicin that have documented mild diuretic properties, operating through a mechanism distinct from pharmaceutical water pills. They support kidney filtration without stripping potassium the way many diuretics do. 2 tablespoons of fresh parsley chopped into food every day. A bunch costs almost nothing and lasts a full week. This is not folk medicine. The mechanism is biochemically documented. Score, 7 out of 10. A steady, daily foundation. Food number 2, cucumber. Eaten, not applied to your eyes. Cucumber is over 95% structured water. It contains meaningful potassium that biochemically counterbalances excess dietary sodium, and provides silica, a compound that supports connective tissue and capillary wall integrity. Half a cucumber, 3 to 4 times a week at lunch. Not in the evening. Score, 7 out of 10. Simple, cheap, and systemically effective. Food number 3, dark berries. Blueberries, blackberries, bilberries. These contain anthocyanins, compounds that directly strengthen the walls of small capillaries and lymph vessels, reducing the rate at which fluid escapes through those walls into surrounding tissue. The puffiness under your eyes is in part capillary leakage, fluid that has seeped out of small blood vessels into the loose perorbital connective tissue. Stiffen those walls and the leak rate slows. Half a cup daily, in oatmeal, in plain yogurt, or as a light infusion in water. Score, 8 out of 10. The one that addresses the structural leak, not just the drainage. But here is what most people miss. Even if you eat perfectly, the lymph still needs a physical push every single morning to drain the overnight accumulation. That is exactly what the next part provides. The 90-second morning protocol, 4 parts. This is the one sequence that changes the mirror. 4 parts. 90 seconds total. Every single morning before your feet touch the floor. Part 1. The inner corner press. While still lying in bed, place the pads of your 3 middle fingers flat against the inner corner of each eye, where the bridge of your nose meets your eye socket. Apply gentle but firm downward pressure, angled slightly outward toward your cheekbones. Not scrubbing. Not rubbing.